after last week, I don't believe you're bad at any boss fights.
Yeah, no, it's really funny. Like a lot of people have commented. They were just like, "Damn, you fucking like went just like murder zone on everyone," and I was just
Oh
like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no one is thinking that you're bad at Dark Souls ever at
I'm
this
sure
point.
plenty of people are still thinking I'm bad at Dark Souls, but that's fine. They can think whatever they want. Um, Hi everyone, and welcome back to the best of all possible souls. It's me, Dia, the Dark Souls murderess. We're here with Derby, the other Dark Souls murderess, and we are joined by our fabulous co-host Trevor Strunk. Trevor, say hi.
Hi everyone. Hi Derby. Hi Dia. Dia, we were just talking about how good you are at Dark Souls.
We were.
I think From Software has called you and begged you, no more streaming. You're ruining our or no more VODs. You're ruining our reputation as the company that makes gamers pull their hair out.
Yeah, people are always like, Dark Souls is so hard, and then I'm out here making it just like being like, no, it's not. Maybe it's just a skill issue. So I know secrets about what we're doing this week, so I'm gonna make some decisions about things.
Oh, this is some exciting secrets right here.
I mean, yeah,
very
it's
excited to know how
exciting.
much-
Actually, I should probably buy the big boys. Let's buy the big boys.
Hey, why not?
Let's buy,
Right?
let's buy 9 of the big boys. Ooh. Oh, I can only hold 5.
Ashen 1.
I knew it was an odd number, but I didn't realize it was only 5. I can't
big
believe my
boys.
boy is dead.
I know.
I'm so sad. I was really like, okay, I know what we need to do. This is how we can keep him safe. We got at some point we got to keep talking to Patches because Patches will go and rescue him. And then I missed the fucking trigger because I wasn't looking ahead. And that's the thing is like, if I wanted to keep someone alive in a Dark Souls game, you got to look ahead and find out what the flags are.
It really is one of like the weirdest things in Dark Souls. I think is that like if you want to do the plot. At any point, you need to like read a game fact about it first.
No, it's so funny too because I didn't realize that Rosaria would kill off the Cirrus of the moonless sun or whatever, the Cirrus of the starry night above Arl. That's for you Picasso fans out there.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
That's not Picasso. Why did I say Picasso? It's Van Gogh.
Well, I mean, it sounds like Picasso.
No.
It sounds like something Picasso would have painted.
No. It's anyway.
It's French. It's the night.
It's French. It's the night. Yes. But yeah. No. When it was Cirrus, I didn't realize it. I knew there were things that you could do that would kill that trigger, that kill that quest line, but I didn't realize that the Rosaria thing was one of it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, not my ideal playthrough, but it is our playthrough nonetheless, and we commit
I do like
to
that.
that.
We got to. I think like the one thing I can't speak to Grey Rat because like I do wish we still had Grey Rat around, and there's no good. It's just bad luck. There's no sugarcoating it, but. I will say with Rosaria, I'm glad that we made a clear choice. I'm glad that we said, you know what, Derby doesn't like this, and that was all we needed to know. Derby doesn't want to be married in this way, and so we.
Oh no,
that's
what I thought.
Oh right, yeah, we killed her. Oh
yeah,
jeez,
yeah,
so it's just bad luck altogether. Okay.
Yeah, that was what's her face.
Okay, well,
I don't remember. That's the whole Seath, or not Seath. That's the whole Koth.
Become the new whatever.
Yeah, and Derby's not about that. Derby remembers the primordial serpent. Derby says fuck that shit. She's not about that.
Derby knows.
Rosaria is the lady with the big slugs. But we chunked off that, and like I don't know. I never that. All of these involve like going through the whole thing with invasions, and Derby's not into that. Derby doesn't care.
Yeah, tying plot to PvP is, I feel like it's a mistake.
I think it's really funny because like we're gonna get on our way, but while we talk, when they do that, I always really love just like being like doing the in Elden Ring. when you have what's his face, Bloody Mask guy, and he's like,
yeah.
"Here, homie, go invade and kill a bunch of people that you don't know." I just like invade, and I just kind of stand there doing the like, "What's good?" emote. I just let myself get murdered because I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
I feel like also PvP, especially in these games, is such like a personal choice. Like if you're doing it because you like the game on a different level than the plot. I feel like they need to take something from even like games like Call of Duty with that, where it's like, listen, we know what you're here for. It's not the plot line. It's you like to go gank other players. And that's okay. There's a space for you, but it's outside of the plot.
You know, I agree with that up to a point, but also I think the people who like get really gung ho about PvP are also like insane about the lore in Dark Souls. Because like I know so
that's
many weird
probably
PvP
true.
people who are like, you know, who will like, you know, get up my ass about like, oh no, you said this thing wrong. Actually, these three other items, you know, Vadi said, if you look at these three items that you haven't gotten to yet, that actually contradicts what you said. And it's just like, okay, homie, cool. I don't care.
You say that to me as if I should care about that.
But like they like
Exactly.
they're, you know, I know for a fact that they're like, you know, PvP sickos.
I always liked. I think I like the
Oh,
PvP sickos that do the more sort of like disconnected version of it. Like the people I know who, like Chris Person did this, but so did Alex Deegan. Where like and Deegan only talked to me about it in like DMs, but Chris like posted about it all the time. When Elden Ring was still fresh, and like just like coming up with builds that were silly for PvP, like or like trying to maximize it in the most sort of like min-maxing way possible. Like that feels right to me.
Yeah,
the thing
no.
where it's like I know everything about the game because I'm like so competitive is just so aggro and weird.
No, Chris gets like absolutely. Chris is just like absolutely psychotic with like build mode.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Oh yeah, I mean, you told me a little bit about his build mode in Stranger of Paradise.
Yeah, the Stranger of Paradise conversations I had with Chris, and I was just like, homie, I have to cut you off because this is at such a level where you are hurting my brain. I just want to think about my homeboy Jack and his Brofest as the Warrior of Light forever now.
Yeah.
I cannot think about builds in this game. I'm not gonna do the level 300 content.
It's so cool. It's so cool that there are people out there that do, but I am also very glad that I do not do that.
But
I guess that's probably maybe why I want them separate, because it's like that's your thing. You can do both, but like the thing I can't do, let's not mix it with the thing I like to do.
Yeah. I did appreciate, like, you know, because he's like, that was the only way I was going to learn that that Stranger of Paradise becomes a completely unhinged game at like level 300 and that it like completely is a transformative experience. Yeah, I see you. Come on.
Oh, he's
Come
fun.
on, homie. You want some?
Is that person alive next
I
to
don't
you
think
there?
so. I don't think that person's alive. I think that's a dead person.
All right.
Yeah, I can't target them. They're just scenery. But this guy over here, he's alive and he's weird. He's kind of
It's like, yeah, the way he was opening his mouth is dog-like.
what even is his mouth? Like what's
I don't
shit.
know. He's got
Damn.
some knives.
He's got some fucking knives and he's got bandages and what is going on?
Is he a Labrador or what am I looking at here? Oh, he's a snake.
He's got a snake head. Yeah, he's got like a weird.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at the weird. He's got a weird snake head and.
Okay.
With, like,
I kind of wish it was a
body?
Labrador now or like a Saint Bernard. I
Oh,
thought that's what we were seeing, but it's not. It's just not at all what we were seeing.
No, that's not what we're seeing. That's not. This is not breed standard.
Saint Bernard, not typically a Dark Souls, but it's also not breed standard. I was loving watching the AKC dog show when I was hanging out with family on Thanksgiving, and was sad they didn't want to watch more of it with me. I was enjoying all the facts about all the different breeds
Oh,
and all their wild
so,
owners.
So I am very disappointed that we don't. They're like, John Peterman will not tell us all of the facts about the dogs. They won't show us everything about, because they're like, oh, if you want to see, we can't show you everything. And it's like, well, yes, you can, homie. You can show me everything.
Yeah, don't. The only people who are watching this are the sickos,
Right? And it's like no one. What else are we going to do? You're going to rerun the parade? No one cares about the fucking parade anymore. The parade sucks now. The parade is garbage. No one gives a shit about, oh, here's like one or two floats, and now we're going to show you what's like this season on Broadway, these big garbage shows. No one cares. No one cares about Scooby-Doo on Ice on Broadway. Fuck off.
And football's not on yet, and you're just
we're killing time till football. Show all the fucking dogs.
Yeah. So I did appreciate how they built up tension as to whether or not the golden retriever would place, because I felt like it was the one time I could get on board with the like America's favorite thing, where it's just like some dumb guy who like everyone's like, you just feel good to watch him succeed. I never liked that, but with the golden retriever, I was like, no, I get it now. I know how this feels. Golden retriever shouldn't win, but I want them to.
I want the golden retriever to win. Yeah, that was a good golden from what I remember this year.
I think it got like third. I think it finally like placed somewhere.
Is it like the golden retriever like never wins too or something like that? Like it's
yeah, that's what they were saying. Like it's a situation where the golden never wins.
The golden retriever doesn't need to win because the golden retriever is just America's dog.
The golden retriever has already won in so many different ways.
Despite being a breed from Scotland, the golden retriever is America's dog. That's how hegemony works.
In many ways, it's hegemony, but also it is just likeness. Americans are very like golden retrievers. Americans at their best. They run stupidly into things and mess them up, and then wag their tail and ask for praise.
Yeah. We had my stepfather. He had like a $20,000 golden retriever. It was like one of those bespoke golden retrievers from like
Mercedes golden retriever.
Yeah, like one of those like it like was like from a breed, a reputable breeder with papers and like Socrates, and it was just
sure.
like like that was his golden retriever. So like we grew up with this dog, and I'm like, yeah, this dog and I just used to like lay on the floor and like in the basement, and I would play Zelda, and the dog would just curl up next to me in my Robin Boy Wonder pajamas, and would just have horrible gas, and then like look at me like, I love you, and I'm just like, yeah, you have no brain.
My favorite
you
thing
cost
about
more than a sports car, and you're stupid.
Ours did not. We got ours from a farm. I had a golden retriever growing up. My dad, I guess in an effort to drive himself insane. It's a key. I think like, I don't know why he would do this to himself, but he had a 2-year-old and an infant, and they decided to get a puppy. I don't know how he made it through, but the Lizzie was cool.
Yeah.
Our puppy, and she was great. I mean, she wasn't a puppy the whole time. We had her for a long time, but the main thing I remember about her is if you were eating and she wanted you to pet her, she would just take her head and like move your arm with her head onto her. And if you move it back, she'd just try it again. And again. just the most patient idiot dog in the world. Like, I want this one thing. If you could give it to me, I'm just gonna keep trying.
Yeah, my dad had a hint ahead. So this is an interesting place we're in right now. We've got this weird cracked bowl here.
Yeah, we got the gesture. The bowl looks very similar to our friend, in Dark Souls 1, right?
Well, it looks very similar to our friend in Dark Souls 1, but doesn't this also remind us of when the game first started?
Oh yeah, good call.
Because we go to that whole thing, or there's like, so first of all, we come down here. We fought Udix. Oh, we don't. Not Udix Gundar. I'm thinking about the beginning of the game. We fought Osiros. It is cool to fight
Udix Gundar.
Osiros, the consumed king, who had like gone all Seath, right? He just went 100% full Seath, was turning into all kinds of shit. And now we're down here with these weird people who are turned into part lizard people.
So you think this was a transformation that happened?
This is definitely a transformation that happened.
Interesting.
This is
I
a
can see it.
zone. This is a transformative zone.
They're sort of like part and parcel with those guys at the beginning who carry their shells on their backs.
Yeah, they're very much like that. They've got this like kind of this hunch and this weird, this overly wrapped cloth head thing. Only they've got these long weird necks and these long weird arms and legs because they're turning into a dragon. And we got this gesture while we were down here. I almost said jester,
Very
and I'm like,
so we got a jester.
no, Gerby, don't do that. Derby just want to see the gesture. Okay, switch. Where is it? Patches,
It's at the bottom, I
squat,
think.
toast.
Yeah,
Path
there
of
you
the
go.
Dragon. So the Path of the Dragon is a gesture, and if we remember, we went to that one cliffside when we were going down, 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 down.
Oh yes, and there was a gesture we needed.
Yeah, all the guys were sitting like this. Remember?
remember
They're
that?
all
I
sitting like
do.
that, and so, and all the notes said gesture needed, and we didn't have a gesture. We tried lots of gestures, but we didn't have the right one because we needed
So
to come down
frustrating.
here and see this guy who is curled up at the base of this big basin that does remind us quite a lot of the Lord
The Lord
vessel.
vessel. Yeah.
The Lord vessel. 'Twas the Lord who made me. It's so
I
funny.
am as God made me.
It's so funny because like whenever I play these games, like I do, I can't not have like the British romantics just not like just a little bit, with me.
Sure. I mean, you got a lot of ruined abbeys and stuff. I think
So many
they eat
ruined
this up.
like we're clearly someone at From Software has been like, hey, there's this Blake guy, and he's got some really weird apocalyptic etchings.
Elden Ring 2 is going to have some rough bosses called the Tiger and the Lamb, and it's not going to be good.
I want a Blakean tiger. I want a Blakean tiger boss in Dark Souls or in Elden Ring 2. That would be so good. But we got.
I mean, that would be great.
But like there's so much like for as much as like we can point to like T.S. Eliot and all these other things and George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin obviously also working out of a context wherein George R.R. Martin has absolutely read Blake and Shelley and
Right.
and Eliot and all of these people.
Yeah, say what you will about Martin, and there's a lot to say, but he's certainly well read.
He is. Like it's really funny because like I am harsh on his prose style.
I am too. I
Because
even having enjoyed reading his books, I'm harsh on his prose style.
like I have tried to read the books of Ice and Fire or whatever multiple times, and his prose style is lacking for
it's
me.
plotting.
It really is. Like it's like no one told him, George, if a character has opened a door, we can assume that if they were on a horse, they have gotten off the horse. But George really wants to tell you every time a character has gotten on and off a horse. He wants to tell you every time a character has sheathed his sword. He wants to tell you every time a character has finished peeing and buttoned his fly. Like he really is concerned that you are like, no, Ned Stark just took a shit and you might assume he has not pulled his pants back up. I gotta
reader,
tell you
I assure you
that he has indeed pulled his pants back up before walking into the room with like, the de facto king. So yeah, so there's that. But I really appreciated his like short fiction where he did not have the room for that, especially his like weird science fiction short fiction, which is like actually really really top tier.
He's an interesting dude because like I feel like when it was announced that he was going to be involved in Elden Ring, my initial thought was like, oh god, like,
Yeah.
Derby, what did you do?
Derby found a fog wall ahead.
I love that, but I was worried all of his excesses would combine with Miyazaki's excesses, and it would just be treacly impossible garbage. And like there are critiques to be made, but I think like in terms of the storytelling, they both kind of like impeded each other's excesses to a certain degree. That like I didn't feel the Martin stuff in there was bad. The stuff that I could identify by him, I kind of enjoyed it.
No, my problem with Elden Ring, if anything, in terms of like narrative and plot, was simply that the two of them clearly were not given the budget and space because they need what ultimately. I think ultimately my problem with Elden Ring is that it was not given the time and budget of Larian's Baldur's Gate 3.
No, you're right.
The
second half of that game is a travesty.
And that when you get Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin in a room, just being fucking nerds about the things that they are nerds about, there is a degree of magic that is happening. And that they simply did not have the budget and time to fully achieve their goals.
There's some really, really like, I think this is part of why people resonated with it so well. There is some like genuinely, compelling stuff in there that you don't typically see in games because like no one has the budget to do typically compelling stuff. And like,
yeah,
I think the fact that they are who they are gave them the leeway to do, to be like, okay, you could do some compelling stuff.
No.
We know it'll sell enough that you can do some.
No, my favorite thing about Elden Ring was watching people be like, oh, you can really see the George R.R. Martin here, and it's just like, dude, that's Miyazaki. Like that is the most Miyazaki thing, and it's just like, nah, did you really feel like the Miyazaki here? It's like, no, dude, that's George R.R. Martin, because they're literally they're so operating on the same level.
Yeah,
they have the same interests about what is cool and what they're trying to do with European fantasy. It's just really funny just how overly compatible the two are. So we came through this invisible wall. We're below Lothric. We can assume we are still below Lothric here.
Oh, we went down, but as we know, geography in Dark Souls games is 100% always correct.
Right. Like this is weird. Like we go down from the weird cathedral in Lothric, the Wall of Lothric. We were on the Wall of Lothric. Right. We go into this weird chapel. We fight a big dancer. We go up a ladder. Go down a hallway, we go down a stairway, we come to a garden, we go through the garden, we go down the stairs, we come to a dragon man king who is kind of locked down here. And then we go through his zone, we come through here into this like this is like the most like setting up Elden Ring ass zone I can think of. Like it's so this is what is going to like set the stage for Elden Ring. And it is coming hot off of there's a lot of Bloodborne in this zone. This is much more Bloodborne to Elden Ring than it is, Kingsfield to Dark Souls, or Kingsfield to Demon Souls to Dark Souls, Dark Souls to Dark Souls 2 zone to me.
There's a lot more. I mean, this isn't exactly a hot take, but like there's a lot more transition in Dark Souls 3 than I think in any of the other Dark Souls games, which is part of the reason that like I probably have had like a complicated relationship with it, because like it is, if you look at Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, yes, Dark Souls 1 is definitely moving from Demon Souls and Kingsfield further. Demon Souls is a transition from Kingsfield to something else, but like they all are also their own thing. In certain places in this game, it doesn't feel like it's its own thing. It almost feels like a tech demo for the next thing.
Yeah. And like it is interesting in that way, because like there's part of the complaints about Dark Souls 2 is that it's like people like to think of Dark Souls 2 as the tech demo for Bloodborne. in which ways it was, because Dark Souls 2 was being made at the start of Bloodborne's, emergence. And so there's all kinds of weird, the lineage for Dark Souls becomes very murky and complicated, and games are overlapping in ways that they follow on from one another, and yet they are, kind of simultaneous, progenitors of each other. So
Good way of putting it.
It's a weird way of doing things. So we come through all of this shit beneath Lordran, the land of the lords, and or Lothric. Lordran is Dark Souls 1.
Lordran is also the land of the lords.
Lordran is the land of the lords, and Lothric is also the land of the lords, because it's also just basically Lordran. Let's be real here.
Got a lot of lords in these games.
'Twas the Lord who made me.
Unfortunately, now I'm just thinking about Wordsworth bosses and Blake bosses in a Dark Souls. Like, there's a mob boss called the We Are Seven. Keep having to fight like different versions of these dead children. The end boss at Tintern Abbey is just a wretched, like, decaying woman named Dorothy. It's just very exciting.
We've never had to fight a fucking albatross.
Yeah, what's that about?
Yeah, where's my albatross, Miyazaki? But
the ship zone was awesome, but
we've never fought an ancient mariner. Come on. I've definitely been in some some limebow prisons, but I've not. I've never fought a dude with a broken ankle.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel like Coleridge is essentially the final boss at the end of all romanticism. So, just a grumpy guy who you used to think was like in step with you, and he's like, I'm way more grumpy than you think I am.
Yeah, well, he just wanted to go on. He just wanted to go summit Mont Blanc with you. Why did you leave him? Honestly, the dude who wanted to hike up Mont Blanc with you and got left behind because he twisted his ankle, and so he spent the day just in a glade near your hostel, near your youth hostel, being surly about it, is the most Dark Souls boss I can think of.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's basically if you got the crestfallen soldier and he, instead of going hollow, he became extremely frustrated. He became poetic about it.
The crestfallen soldier just wanted to hike up Mont Blanc with you. Byron, why would you do that?
I guess I'm not going up the mountain.
Oh my God!
We should get further. People are screaming.
Yeah. So we go through this. We go into this. There's this. This is still very clearly Lothric Castle, right? Like, this is the bottom of the castle. The way where you go find the one god in Elden Ring. Spoilers for Elden Ring. Sorry, but you probably played Elden Ring by now if you're watching this Let's Play.
I would hope.
You go to the bottom and you see the giant jellyfish god face that's just like on the ground, and you're like, what the shit?
I love that guy.
It's so good. It's just so weird, stupid, ancient aliens. This is what Remedy is trying to do with Control, but like is unwilling to be this baller moment. But so we go, then here we can clearly see this is the framework that holds the castle up. Like, this is, but then we smash through this invisible illusory wall, and we get a cave, and then Nani? This is like where we started the game.
Seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is very familiar, but the untended graves.
Ooh, that's not good.
I hate when my graves are untended.
I've seen movies about untended graves, and it never really goes well for the people who didn't tend them.
No, untended graves is such a great, it's more of a Shelleyan concept. Like, if you really Percy Bysshe, not Mary.
I mean, Mary cares about untended graves.
Mary
too, but not in
definitely
the
cares
same
about
way,
untended
yeah.
graves, but not in the same way. Mary is like, okay, this is what happens after the graves have been untended for too long. People start carrying around their beloved heads for a decade.
Mary Shelley is too smart in many ways to care about untended graves in the same way. Like I feel like you kind of have to be a little adolescent to care about untended graves in the way Shelley does.
Right. Shelley is the one who says, "What if coffins were coming out of the walls? Wouldn't that be sick?" And Mary is just like over there, just like she's like, "Are you kidding me? Like, we have people doing experiments on 13-year-olds from North Africa that they've stolen away." Jesus Christ,
Percy.
Jesus Christ, Percy. I used to call Percy Shelley, Percy. To like my British romantic professor was just constantly like, irate with me for just.
No, I think that's fair. If I had a smart student who was calling him, I like when my students who don't know anything. Sorry, if you're listening, you know a lot of stuff. If you're smart enough to listen to this. And you're my student, it's very weird that you're here, but thanks for watching. But like, if I had a like really smart student who was doing that, I would support it because Percy Bysshe Shelley does not really deserve your respect as a person. As a poet, quite good, but I feel like it's like him, Keats, and Byron are like the trio of people who you're just like. You don't really have to respect these guys that much. They're all kind of just like teens.
Yeah, no, not at all. They're the Stiflers of the poetry world.
Certainly Byron.
My professor ultimately did devolve into calling Shelley my bish.
Very funny.
And I always appreciated that.
Yeah, I like
that. So we're back at the beginning of the game, Trevor.
In the untended graves.
In the untended graves. Our graves.
Yeah, we woke up in a grave.
We woke up in the cemetery of Ash. Yeah.
Well, then why is there this place?
This place is different. This place is also shrouded in darkness, which is interesting because
like
the water takes
spot.
on a different color because of the lighting effects here. Like this, the engine gives us water of a different caliber. By virtue of, but see, there we go. There's another one of those weird Lord vessel looking things over there. But ours, we didn't have. Ours was, we didn't have a bonfire. We didn't have any.
Boy, that would be nice.
I mean, we started here, but we started right here. This is where we started. We woke up in this weird little cul-de-sac, and we came through here, and then we walked on, and we got our Ashen Estus flask over at this first initial Lord vessel looking thing.
Right.
This is what happened. And then we fought like some basic dudes. We learned combat tutorial. The soul of a crestfallen knight here. Help me. Help me. This is just a tutorial zone. There can't be anything too difficult here. So let's see. Oh, what we got going on over here?
Oh, just dogs.
Just dogs.
It's fine. It's fine. Tutorial zone.
Yeah. There's an interesting weird dog over here, just like kind of just lying, just chilling.
Yeah, this is the golden retriever of Dark Souls
right
there. I do like the repetition of, it's a weird way to say it, but I like the repetition of iteration here, where it's just like, yeah, everything's going to be the same on top of the same on top of the same, because it's been thousands of years since the first game, and we haven't changed.
Oh shit!
Whoa! Okay, these are some serious guys.
Oh, these guys, these grave tender motherfuckers who, Jesus, really coming. Oh, now you spit fire? Jesus. Yeah. The grave wardens. We were finding some grave wardens just hanging out here with their large titanite shards.
Hey, why not, right?
Yeah, but that's an interesting wrinkle here, is that now these are untended graves, right? And yet there are grave wardens.
who tend them, or perhaps who just protect them.
Yeah,
They don't have spades. They have swords.
Yeah, they're not here clearing, like making sure that the headstones are aligned, and they're not sweeping things up, and they're clearly not getting rid of weeds. Titanite chunk, we love that.
Yes, we do.
We need quite a few more of those, but we'll get there. But yeah, they're not really tending the graves, in the sense, to keep them nice and clean and orderly. Another Titanite chunk. Love that.
Right.
Damn, dirty.
This might be where they want you to go to get your next weapon upgrade.
Yeah, I think this is where you're supposed to be for that. But yeah, so
yeah, I mean, this is this idea. I mean, again, it's inchoate a little bit, but it's really interesting. This idea of, even with the sort of hub zone, where like you get this sense of things building on top of one another into this kind of like chaotic melange of, a tower almost, right? Like, and as you keep going down, you find like it's like in London or New York, where you can find like old abandoned subway stations if you go through the right, I don't know, tunnels or whatever.
Right.
And they're just down there. They're just there.
Yeah. No, there is, oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So we can see I love, this is the thing I love when Dark Souls does do this. The way that they use absolute darkness and their kind of internal, like the character lighting, where objects, where NPCs and objects are lit, with their own kind of specific light. So you get this kind of shit that happens where we can clearly see that there are two of these seething crystal dudes.
I don't like those guys.
Well, remember this is, in the Cemetery of Ash, we came here and there was the one big sleeping crystal lizard, right? The giant crystal lizard, which we had never seen before. We'd never seen a giant crystal lizard in a Dark Souls game before. But now we have these two, and they're like very poised. It's like the scene in like a Mad Max movie where there's like, two dudes on like motorcycles or like in like tricked out dune buggies on the top of like a cliffside, like ready to just like, roll down into the valley and like wreck shit.
Yeah, that something bad is going to happen when you see those guys.
Look at, I love the way it highlights their movement. Jesus. Ultimately, damn, 2 Titanite scales.
I know. I was gonna say that's crazy.
That's a lot. That's a lot of goods, but it's weird because they're not like particularly difficult, but they really pack a punch. It's kind of like reminding you that, like, oh, there we go.
There we are.
Jeremy with the riposte. Titanite scale. So you got 4 Titanite scales just walking in here.
God, those are such cool creatures.
Yeah. There's really nothing going on here. There's just those guys. They're just 2 big Titanite scale pinatas.
I'm reminded again of the area underneath the right underneath where you meet Astora in Dark Souls 1, where there's the big Titanite demon, and that's it.
Oh, right.
I mean, there's also a door into another area, but like it's so weird. You just go into the basement and there's a big black pool and a Titanite demon.
Uh-huh.
God.
Yeah. Andre's just like, I'm just up here. I'm here to smith your weapons. You thought you'd come across a nice little chapel, but no, you'd come across me, Andre of Astora, in this little cul-de-sac, of a room, and down there,
basement.
Down there is my basement, where I get me Titanite. He just goes down and like lops off a toe when he needs one.
Hey,
Like,
And it's well done.
why does he like? It's like, Andre, what did you not think to like mention the giant Titanite demon just
Nah,
over
it's
there?
fine.
Yeah, no, he
I
doesn't.
love that he never does either.
No, he
Get
at no
killed
point
by
does he
it.
comment on it, which is just fantastic.
Very funny. Yeah.
But I like the way the lights are hitting these tree branches up here that look kind of like, capillaries. They look like
I
when
was
the
gonna
way
say, are they branches or roots?
yeah, they look like the way when like they show like, this is the artery system of the lungs.
Right.
Just like, it's really good. Just all the I do think all of the little headstones and coffins and things like that in this zone do work. There is kind of this like, catacombsy, like there is a sense of kind of like the medieval ruin hillside where there are all of like, you do get all the weird headstones kind of butted up against one another because people have just been burying people there for like 600 years, and it's just like,
Well, yeah, and the land shifts and everything. Right. Exactly.
there's that weird, the sense of a kind of erosion and movement and buckling and tectonics, but also like it feels wrong. It's like no one in their mind would ever like bunch up a bunch of bodies and headstones like
Yeah.
this,
What's that?
specifically
place?
in this corner.
They grew like mushrooms.
Yeah, they're like mushrooms. It's really funny. But so
We had the assets, and they just kept saying we need more graves.
yeah, it's I love the way they just kind of like pile them up. But if we come back here, there's these weird Corvians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
yeah. He
leader
saw
saw you.
some shit. But you know what? Fuck you, buddy. Yeah. You wanna cast that shit? Oh shit.
Got that one on the backswing. Dang.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, Derby.
Derby is not messing around.
There we
Derby
go.
does not care about your bleed effect.
No, does not care. The Ashen Estus ring.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's weird that, this is where we get the Ashen Estus flask, and that sets off on a whole, thing. We never have heard of Ashen Estus before, and that teaches us about, we coming into this, we know about the Estus, we know what Estus is, and so this ring was entrusted to a certain firekeeper, but in the end, she never met her champion, and the ensuing tragic farce became a favorite tale of the masses.
Rude.
So this is the ring that was entrusted to a certain firekeeper, but in the end, she never met her champion. That's important. Keep that in your head.
All right.
This is the gray crystalline ring crafted from shards. Once a treasure brought before Lothric's queen. She had it enshrined in the cemetery of untended graves, so that one day an unkindled might profit from its use.
Oh, interesting.
Which becomes wild because so the queen knew about the untended graves. She knew about this weird cemetery that like no one fucked with.
Queen also had a plan for the unkindled.
The unkindled, right? Because we never, you don't have an unkindled until no one decides, until like no one's like, I'm not gonna like the fire. Fuck the fire.
How long has that been going on? I mean, like
yeah. Like what's that about? So that's very interesting. Also, this is the kind of the first mention we get of Lothric's queen. We never
True.
We never get queens. Who was Gwyn married to? Do you know who Gwyn was married to? The only reason we know who in Dark Souls 2 is because Nishandra, we don't know Nishandra 1, right? Nishandra 2 is clearly the second wife.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No, there's a big age gap.
Yeah, that is some second wife ass shit right there.
She looks like a portrait, and he's a giant shambling corpse. So
Yeah. Which, that's definitely part like her doing, but also Nishandra is definitely the dark spirit of daughter of Crystal Crimehild.
Crimeheld.
Yeah, what is that shit?
Okay.
I don't know.
Go off.
I've never had Daughter of Crystal of Crimeheld.
Do we think that the Estus ring that we just picked up, do we think that was the champion that the Firekeeper was looking for? That should have gotten that ring and did not? Or do we think that the ring was there simply as a kind of hope? That it wasn't meant ever for something specific, but in fact, like, just kind of general.
Oh, there's the Daughter of Crystal Crimeheld. Oh, shit.
Oh.
Damn, bitch.
Shoot.
Nope, shit.
All right. Go off.
Go off, Derby. I was
Better
really
go get
like
all those souls back.
I was really hype about kicking her off the ledge too, and then that happened. Yeah, so I gotta get all the souls back somehow.
But do we like it might just be a stupid question, but like do we think that that ring that we picked up actually was intended for someone who, say, like the love of that or the champion of that Warden Twin Blades Firekeeper, or was this just like a kind of like the Queen is hopeful sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that the what the Queen is looking for and what the Firekeeper were looking for are different things. I think those are different people, personally.
Different champions.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that the Unkindled is because the Unkindled is the Unkindled. Champion is a champion. Those are different concepts to me. But you might be right.
No, but I think you make a good point that, like, in fact, there is actually even a different sort of connotation to who we are and what a champion is.
Yeah,
because everyone is like, it's not even the same thing that we get in Dark Souls 1, where it's like, oh, finally someone's here to ring the bells. It's more just like, oh, another person's here, huh? Well, I guess you can try.
Yeah, I think the use of language there is specific and interesting in its specificity.
Yeah, I would agree.
I have 41,000 souls, so I was coming back here. I was fucking spending that shit.
Very well. Then take nourishment.
Yeah. Take nourishment. We're gonna take nourishment.
You got scared when that Grave Warden almost got you.
Yeah, look, dude, the Grave Wardens don't fuck around.
No, they don't. They can kill you at any time.
They really can. Jesus. I guess I want to put this in endurance. I definitely need more stamina. More so than strength. I mean, like, we want strength eventually, but that does give me to 480, and I like that number.
It is a pleasing number.
It's pleasing to see 480 like that. 114 is not as pleasing.
No, it's fairly. It's honestly, it's a bit of a drag.
Yeah, we'll just do it. It's fine.
Farewell, Ashen One.
A level is a level. I wanted to spend the souls before we lost them.
Which we would.
Oh yeah.
Just one.
I wonder, do we have?
Good question.
We do, Trevor. We have enough.
We have enough?
We have enough.
Oh, we have enough souls too. This is
make heavy
amazing.
greatsword +8, baby. Let's go.
Oh, Derby is going to crush with this thing.
Derby is. Okay, we got no Estus shards. We have a coal though. We have a giant's coal. We can give this to Andre and see what he says. Ooh. Did we read the giant's coal yet?
Pretty
I don't
big
think so.
like that.
We should read the giant's coal before we give it away to Andre.
We should.
Giant's coal, enabling lightning, simple, and chaos infusion. It is said that the giant blacksmith of Anorlando was once the blacksmith of the gods. Okay, well, yeah, we know that.
That's not really new.
That's not really telling me anything, Miyazaki.
My. The coal of that peaceable giant. Seems like ages passed. I imagine his passing was long ago. I miss the old bugger, I do. My thanks I'll be sure this coal is put to good use. I'll be smithing weapons never afore seen by the likes of ye. It's but a small service to pay my humble respects.
Aw.
Prithee, be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
So you can't. Is Andre? Are those just burns or are those?
Yeah, those are burns, I think.
Yeah,
I don't
those
think
aren't-
he's hollow.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Andre is just eternal.
Yeah, how did Andre live this long?
Andre is just endless. Andre outlasting the fucking giants.
Very funny. I do love that Andre knew Giant like as a colleague. There's something so nice about that. Like, sure, of course he knew the Giant as a colleague. Why wouldn't he, right? Like,
Oh yeah, but this is Andre was like it's interesting because it's like we get the whole like the this is a Hattori Hanzo sword kind of the classic game recognized game of with Andre the way he understands the crafting of the master craftsmen who make up this world
right,
as a master
exactly.
craftsman himself, which is like that's how you in a way like that's interesting because that does signal like Andre as a true like kind of master craftsman himself is that he is aware of what everyone else is doing,
And he recognizes the ability to take their work and use it in his own way, which is also, I mean, that's also something that you have to take into account with, like, you're right, like, it is that this is the Hattori Hanzo blade is exactly the reference there, because, like, it's something that is taken and used by someone else and recognized and built upon in a respectful but, like, powerful way.
Yeah. So we're back here. When this is originally where we had our bonfire, right? This is the first place we got to rest was coming up onto this like promontory, and we got the bonfire right here, and then
Except now we're in like the graveyard of the giants again.
yeah. So let's see how this zone has changed. Oh wow, there's that guy over there who wants to do this shit. Oh. Jesus.
My goodness.
Everyone wants to be dicks.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Instead of having the little jump over to that coffin, it's right over beside the coffin now.
I do like that. It makes it a little
It
easier.
did make it a little easier.
You guys have been here before. It's fine.
Now we got reach on these guys for once. What a weird the return to this zone is probably one of the few interesting like returns that Dark Souls 3 does.
Yeah, no, it's deeply strange. Like I have no clue what to make of it, because like the return to the zone is also like just not the zone. It's so different and dark and blackened, strange.
But there's still that guy.
That guy's still there? Yeah, I was gonna say.
That guy's still there. Yeah.
This is great.
It is interesting the way in which they keep some things similar, as a way of throwing you off.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it is haunting to be in a spot like, I mean, like almost in like the traditional sense of like the uncanny or whatever, where it's like this is almost right but not.
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
part of the thing that we all say about Dark Souls is, oh, you have to learn Dark Souls, and then it's learning how the steps and like learning a space and understanding a space, and then Dark Souls comes along and does that shit.
Right. Yeah, it's like what was I supposed to learn here? nice.
Yeah.
That new strength on the broadsword could be felt.
Yeah, I'm glad we did that before all this. Look at that here.
What's down there?
That guy.
Oh, this guy was down. This is another thing that was.
Yeah, because he's down there and he had the spearmen kind of blocking his path, so that defending him so that he could.
I love the and like. This is gonna sound like I'm being like arch or whatever, and I'm not. Like, I honestly love the simplicity of just removing the background of this to create like the sense of placelessness. Like, there's nothing there.
Yeah, no.
This is just they were just like, okay, take out those assets.
Yeah, just
it
remove the skybox.
It is so eerie. Like it feels like an old experimental movie where they would like mess with the actual film itself and take out certain bits, or like add lasers by scratching the film or whatever. Like it has that kind of like very uncanny, scary feeling.
No, it's really funny. It's like, what happens when we remove this skybox and like the lighting that comes to the skybox and we leave everything else the same? Well, this is what happens. And it's just like, damn, that's weird, bro.
Yeah, real weird. Messed up, homie. This is what you see all the time?
This is what you see all the time. I'm actually curious because this is a boss arena. And we have so many of these. I'm just curious. Oh, who's around? Is this? Oh, it's the Swordmaster. That's the NPC.
He's cool.
It's weird that the Swordmaster is here.
What is his deal? Did we meet him at any point?
We never really. There's never really anything with him. He's just parrying. I'm
getting a vibe where they want you to.
They're not wrong. I vaguely remember the fight up ahead, and parrying does work. Derby has never fucking parried in her goddamn life.
But yeah, no, Derby's not about to be. I don't see it.
Yeah, it's so funny because I'm very like. I'm resistant to parrying in Dark Souls quite often because I rarely use shields, and usually big sword opens many gate. Like there's not a lock that a big sword can't just clunk through.
I mean, I think that's like legitimately a play style, right? Like I think that's the option you get. You can do the finesse thing, or you can do big sword.
It's the Swordmaster. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
not? Like this weird
He's
little
cool.
dude. I think it's funny considering that we kicked him off a cliff.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, is that guy?
Yeah,
yes,
that's the half naked dude that goes rip shit on you with the
katana.
Yeah, the Uji katana.
Hey, brother.
Yeah. Right. Like, what's up, bro?
Good to see you again.
So here we are.
Wait, I know this guy.
You know this guy. We know this guy. Udex Gunder. But now he's Champion Gunder. Oh shit!
Who's that little guy who ran behind?
That was just another. This is another player.
Oh, that's funny. Udex Champion Gunder who did not meet his firekeeper.
Yeah, Champion Gunder who did not meet his firekeeper.
My.
So I'm very interested in this fight because this fight gave me so much fucking trouble. Because
I mean, I could see why it would.
If you don't have like wow, I'm actually gonna beat this guy the first try, which is the funniest fucking outcome here.
I love that you have like a little decoy.
Wow. Shout out to Swordmaster, really helping out there. Champion Gundar. So, historically, even with an NPC, like, or even with an actual human summon, Champion Gundar is just like a total dick slap because he's got huge, he does the moveset of Udex, right? He's not Udex, he's not the judge of Ash. At this point, he is champion. But he has all of the combos, but they're extended. So they're like 6 to, like, I think he's got this, the 10 hit like combos. Like, they're big combos. He just swings like a motherfucker. Like it's just brutal, but also he can cancel any action he's taking. If he sees you healing, if you heal, he will break away instantly and come and just wreck you.
That's wild.
Yeah, and he will jump across the arena. He will charge at you. Like, it's honestly one of the like most ridiculous boss fights. So the fact that we just
hit it in one, yeah. Well, part of that is because Derby hits so hard.
Yeah, with an NPC. Also, I know what I'm looking for here. I'm not, people run up and they want to take off like a dozen hits. They try and get around behind his back. He has a back kick.
God.
Yeah, that will destroy you. His back kick will just absolutely just wreck you. He likes to grab a lot. You got to watch his, empty hand. There's, it's a good test of, he's a boss fight that really does feel like it sets up where we're going with Elden Ring. In a lot of ways, which is really, it's interesting and fun. And also I just completely trivialized it, which is the funniest shit to me, but hey, whatever. But here's the coiled sword that we pulled out of him initially.
There we go.
So we can light that bonfire. And this gives us a bonfire to rest at. It also gives us a bonfire to go back to the shrine, spend some of these souls.
We should also read our wonderful champion soul. I do find it really interesting that they put that there and that Swordmaster was such a nice little helper on that. Because he doesn't do any damage, but like having him as a decoy means that you can hit hard and hit fast, right? Like it's again like a weird little like, the gang's all here kind of moment. Yeah.
So it's interesting. So we went down below, right? In theory, Lothric Castle is in our present reality, right? We went down below and we went through a wall and suddenly we were back where we started the game, only the world had been deleted around us. And then we run into the guy that we killed before he became the guy that we killed to start the game.
Did we get transported? Is it some sort of other realm? It's strange.
Yeah, it's really interesting because so a lot of people, for some people it's that this is actually been sealed away below Lothric. Like this is like, this is the past that has been manifest in the present, but it has been sealed away like a bad memory, like a it's like an act of containment.
Okay. I could see it.
The other people it's a parallel world. That's like, this is where reality is kind of, Dark Souls is constantly kind of bleeding, our worlds are like, bleeding into one another. That's why we see the phantoms. That's why we get the messages and things like that. I actually really like the initial reading of this is just kind of a cysted over wound, right? Like it's like a secreted hematoma of like just pain and tragedy.
Yeah, I like that too.
Just because I'm big on the the body keeps the score, but in this way it's like Lothric's body keeps the score. If you're not familiar with The Body Keeps the Score, just type that into Google. You'll get plenty of answers. It's about trauma and the way trauma is written into the body. It's good shit. Soul of Champion Gundyr, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength. Once a champion came late to the festivities and was greeted by a shrine without fire and a bell that would not toll. I like the notion of came late to the festivities. So it's like Firelink Shrine and the linking of the fire, it is one of these weird, kind of like the way we used to hold jousting tournaments and things like that to who is the king's champion. It's like all the dudes showed up to come jerk off each other and do combat exhibitions to see who was going to be the big guy. And ultimately Udex just couldn't get his entourage together in time. He was waiting on that bespoke helmet. He was like, no, I really need this sick filigree on my pole arm.
I gotta say, it was worth it.
Dude, you look sick. You did a real good job. The Flower Knight. What if the Flower Knight was late to King's Landing because he was too busy? Well, the Flower Knight gets late to King's Landing because he was too busy, blowing his bro. But
yeah.
Good for him. But what if he was too busy getting his armor embossed? To show up in time.
I think the other thing about it is that's so interesting is it reminds me a little bit of the Canterbury Tales too, and the idea of setting off on a pilgrimage, they start being this sort of almost a time of celebration, and the idea of that when you get there in Dark Souls 1 and you light the flame and you ring the bells and all that, you are kind of fulfilling this ultimately repetitive, but very sort of ritualistic, repetitive, sacred thing, right? Like the pilgrimage, right? With the Canterbury Tales and then the pilgrims, and that if you show up late and don't do the steps right, it breaks the story. The story can't be told unless you actually follow the ritual correctly. And that's so interesting from the sense of what happens to a game character when they're not the protagonist, what happens to someone who misses out on their moment. It's such a neat little story.
Yeah, no, it's great because they're seriously to Firelink Shrine they Wendy.
In April swoon.
To Fernhal's no within Sonderlands.
Is anyone out here doing Dark Souls in Middle English? If not, get to it.
God, it infuriates me to no end that Koji Fox, Michael Christopher Koji Fox, head localizer of Final Fantasy XIV and co-story crafter, really. His official forums handle was Fernhal's. And every time I saw it, I was just like, you fucking nerd, I want to fight you in the street.
I wish you would have had a chance.
I really do. I want to just I want to go to, I can't remember what Soken's band name is.
The
Primals?
The Primals.
The Primals? Yeah, God, come on, Soken. Even your band name is boring. I want to go to a Primals concert and just get up on stage right when he decides to sing the weight of the land or whatever. The Titan song. Yeah, as soon as they bring out Michael Christopher Koji Fox to sing the Titan song, I just want to get up stage and just body shot, just check him. Just
the cool
knock
thing
him.
the thing about the Titan song is it's ridiculous, but if it had someone who was not Koji Fox doing the vocals, it would be so cool.
Yeah.
It grows on me fast, that song, because it's so dumb. I think you would do better with it. I feel like you should Christopher Koji Fox off the stage and then take on his role.
Like I
life.
do. I agree with that.
I'm you now.
I agree with the fact that I should just write Final Fantasy 14.
I agree. I think we should get that going. Let's get that rolling. Let's get Dia writing Final Fantasy 14.
So of course, if I the first thing they do, they bring me back in for 14, and I'm just like, all right, so we're bringing back Uematsu, and we're getting rid of all of this this Soken crap.
Welcome home.
Sorry, Soken, but you're only allowed to, like, the instant you rip off the Shire theme for a major zone that we have to spend all my time in as a conjurer, you've lost me. You've lost me as a fan.
I love how much of a hater a Soken hate. Even though I like Soken, I like how much of a hate you are of Soken.
The thing is, I don't dislike Soken. I think Soken does some good stuff every now and then. It's just we are coming from such different places in terms of what I want from an MMO, from a Final Fantasy game soundtrack, and that also, like, it's just like, homie, you have not, like, the betrayal of going from Final Fantasy 1.0 with Uematsu's soundtrack to the Soken soundtrack for, like, Limsa Lominsa is just such a betrayal that I'm just like, I can't do this.
Can't forgive.
No, God, like the original, like, Gridania theme, God, compared to literally like royalty-free Shire theme, no, Soken, what are we doing here? I do think it's funny. I like some of I like a lot of the Heavensward, not Heavensward soundtrack. Shadowbringers has got some decent, in terms of, like, what Soken can bring to the table, but ultimately I'm just like, we could have had Uematsu for this. We have Uematsu at home.
Very well.
We don't have Uematsu at home anymore. That's the thing, though. Square Enix does not recognize what they have until it's gone, and then they ultimately don't care because they're so busy doing weird infighting bullshit that, like, nothing good ever happens there. Did we not eat Udex?
Ashen one.
I think we can eat Udex, can't we?
Yeah. Well, don't you?
We want to go see. We want to go see what Udex will bring to us.
Yeah.
From our homeboy, Ludleth of
asking that question stopped me from saying, "Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what he got till it's gone?"
God damn it!
No, but it's a much less frustrating joke now that I was broken from the moment. So
it's
good
true.
job. Yeah, saved people with that.
So what we got here? What do we got? We got Gundir's halberd.
Of course.
The halberd of Gundir, the champion, received when he was charged with his duty. This old cast iron halberd has the power to break poise, and it is said to never crumble, seeming to suggest that Gundir was fated to eternal service from the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That is rough, but also,
cursed
like,
man.
There's an interesting thing there, because it's like, he was fated to do it, but also Gundir seems to kind of just do it, like, he doesn't seem like the kind of dude who's just like, outside of, like, his little final resting spot, like, well, I guess, like, I don't want to do this, but I got it.
He's not tortured. Yeah.
No, he's just kind of into it. The prisoner's chain, portion of steel chain used to restrain Gundir, gain vigor, endurance, and vitality, but take extra damage.
Cool.
A prisoner is one who has staked everything on a belief, a proclivity most apparent in the greatest of champions.
That is a bizarre definition of prisoner, but I kind of do love it too.
Like, I mean, there is a sense that, if you really, like, adhere to a belief, you are in fact kind of some degrees a prisoner to it, but also this is like portion of a steel chain used to restrain Gundir.
And it's broken.
It is broken.
Which goes back to your point that he's not chained. It's a broken chain. We didn't break the chain. I also like the idea that within understanding that second paragraph, if you take it seriously, it just means whoever wrote this is imagining every prisoner to either be like Thoreau or the Count of Monte Cristo. Which is really, jail's just filled with the Count of Monte Cristo.
Well, there's prisoners and then there's motherfuckers who just got locked up.
Yeah, right. But they don't count as prisoners. They're they're victims of the state.
Right. So it's interesting. When was Gundyr restrained?
I mean, I have to assume in that distant past. I think we have to go back to that sense of.
But right, was he restrained in that little amphitheater where we fight him, or was he restrained before they sent him? Before he went there, was Champion Gundyr just kind of chained up? As this he was like a kraken, and then Gwyn Part 2 or whatever. Who was? Do we know who the King of Lothric is? The King of Lothric.
No, I don't.
I think we don't. I think we have a name for him. I think he's just a King of Lothric. The King of Lothric was just like, well, I need my homies to show up because someone's got to link this damn fire, and so that's when he breaks free or they let him out or something. Was he a release the Kraken moment, or was this well, now that he's here, we got to keep him here?
Right, because he was so late. It almost, the only thing that makes sense to me with the idea of him coming late to the festivities and being cursed to then watch the fire and test the next people coming is it just strikes me as a punishment, right? Like coming late isn't just you miss out. It actually is a sort of punishment. You have to become a sacrificial lamb to the process at that point.
Well, it's the thing is that there's everything was there's no bell tolling, there's no firekeeper, he fucked up, right? He was the champion. He was supposed to be a champion. And I think this is the interesting is they still call him a champion. Mm-hmm. He's not a failure.
It goes back to your point about language, right? The champion and the Ashen or the Unkindled are not the same.
Yeah. This gives me 10,000. It's pretty good, but it's not
nice
enough.
One. Yeah.
7,000 is all I need.
You didn't eat the.
I didn't eat Udex. I was debating on the
with that ring.
The prisoner,
ring's pretty tight.
The prisoner chain's kind of an interesting thing, just because it gives me, we take more damage, but I don't know how much that's offset by the bonus to vigor. But the bonus to endurance and vitality seems kind of interesting. But
I think you should do it. I think we should at least make one thing out of a Twisted Soul.
Yeah, we should make a Twisted Soul thing. Let's do it.
This guy's been telling us all this lore, and all he wants to do is make out of Twisted Souls.
Yeah, all he wants to do.
Good luck jumping. The one thing you can't do.
The one thing we can't do in Dark Souls 3.
It's the most incredible champion this world has ever seen, except put a 2-foot wall in front of her.
Aha, that's all.
All right, let's do it. Prisoner's Chain. Okay, there we go. Costs no souls. But let's equip it. What do we have here? Covenant Serpent Ring, Estus Ring. We don't need the Ring of Evil Eye. That's not as interesting.
I don't think so.
Here we go.
There's our...
Wow, that's actually that's 15 levels worth.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Look at that.
We might take a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, I'm wondering. It doesn't tell us how much extra damage we take.
It'll be interesting to see.
I wonder. We could just
look at our vigor now. My goodness.
Yeah.
Jumped out.
Let's see. Prisoner's Chain worth it is the first thing that comes up as soon as I name Prisoner's Chain. Okay, so let's see. Lowers player's absorption stat depending on current absorption. So -4 when naked or -2.58 when wearing full havels. has a complex effect on incoming damage and survivability. Adds 15 virtual levels, increases all of the player's defensive stat. Increasing vigor adds total HP, increasing vitality lasts for wearing heavier armor, and increases physical defense. Increasing endurance enables more actions to be performed before resting. Absorption decreases. Unless your defenses are really low, or you've reached soft caps in vigor, vitality, endurance, this ring is an improvement and never a hindrance. The extra damage you take out is almost always balanced out by the increase in defense and HP.
There we go.
Okay, at higher soul levels, the defense increase from 15 virtual levels will become proportionally smaller. Yeah. The first comment. This and Radagon's Source Seal are not comparable. Prisoner's Chain, with its extra 15 levels, will generally give you enough HP so that defense reduction is not noticeable, and you can use it until the end of the game, or use it in PvP in DS3. Source Seal, on the other hand, will gives you 20 levels, but will make you take much more damage in the late game, generally being a good idea to only use it in the early game, and then change it when enemies start doing too much damage to you. Conclusion: Radagon's Source Seal is a nerfed version of this.
It's not. It's a different thing. Don't call something nerfed if it's a different thing in a different game. That is ridiculous.
No, that's what I love. The Ring of Favor and Protection, right? Becomes the Ring of Protection, and then it slowly becomes lesser over the years. Mm-hmm. Which gives you this really fun sense of progression through time with Dark Souls. So our endurance is 25 right now. The cap on the soft cap on endurance is 40. Oof. So we've got this is actually kind of a boon. Until we hit 40 in natural endurance, that's given it. This
thing's great.
Yeah, this thing fucking rips.
Yeah, we made the right choice.
Yeah, totally. Derby's Derby's happy about your commitment to an ideal, homie, but look at all these rolls we're doing. Look at this.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's so many
5
more
levels
rolls
in endurance. Swing, and then roll, and then roll, and then roll, and then roll. Look at that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Derby's a killing machine now.
Yeah, Derby's a killing machine now.
I'm laughing a lot about the idea of thinking that something in the past, a previous version, counts as a nerf or a buff of the next one.
So, something from a completely different game.
No, I'm just thinking about it in terms of time too.
Oh, yeah.
Constantinople was was great, but they kind of they actually buffed it a bit when it became Istanbul. They really nerfed the really nerfed Soho in New York when they cleaned up when Koch and Giuliani cleaned it up. It lost all its flair.
So I'm gonna sell some things because we've got space for. We're gonna get 7,000 souls. We're gonna get another level. Twisted Great Hammer associated with Smaug, the last knight to remain at his post, guarding the ruined cathedral. That's interesting that Smaug was the last knight, because everyone I know always kills Smaug first. We're not going to use that because we're never going to use it.
Ornstein left with his girlfriend, right?
Right.
The dragons. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Or Ornstein, Ornstein spirited her away, I guess, was the deal.
Oh yeah.
A ritual spear presented to Dark Moon Knights before Sullivan claimed the title of Pontiff. Can also be used as a staff. Sorceries cast using this weapon channel the wielder's faith. So that's interesting. You can cast sorceries with your faith if you're not, rather than your sorcery stat if you're. I don't know why you do that. I mean, I guess I know why you would do that, but also I don't think it's that interesting or probably that useful. The Drang Twin Spears, blah 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 blah. Yeah, they were descendants from the land known for the legend of linking the fire. They became sellswords. We already read that. The Black Knight Glaive. Glaive of the Black Knights who wander the lands used to face chaos demons. The unique attack of this glaive greatly reduces enemy poise, reflecting the tremendous size of the enemies that the knights have fearlessly faced. Black Knight Glaive is the weapon that you try to get to speed roll your way through Dark Souls 1.
Oh yeah, okay.
All of the speed runs, it's restart basically until you can knock the one Black Knight off the ledge and you get his Black Knight Glaive. It's like that's the pro strat. Because it does so much damage, and it's you get the spin sweep, which is you R2 and you just spin around and just clear out everything. Derby's not about that life though. The Pontiff Knight's great scythe wielded by the Pontiff Knights, frigid spirits that linger in Earthfield, large weight appears to be eaten away by insects, which is a thing that we've thought about, the dark. The claw. We found this below the thing, right? Or no, this is a different claw. Weapon favored by intelligencers of an eastern land. The lacerations it inflicts do not mend easily. When two-handed, claws are equipped to each hand.
I don't think I've ever heard intelligencer outside of a newspaper.
Yeah, intelligencer is a weird thing. So this is interesting. The mannequin claws. Weapon of the pale shades. Assassins of the sable church of Londor. The curved claws cause heavy bleeding when two-handed claws are equipped to each hand. So this we found this below in the garden of the consumed king. These claws are kind of neat looking because they're not like they're so pointed, but they look kind of like Uria's mask. Uria, the fencing lady who showed up after Yule died and was like, I want you to go marry this dude. I have a very complicated idea of what marriage means.
I also like that. I mean, the mannequins. It really does like it. That feel that the mannequins have, that they kind of just have like blade arms when they attack you. That's such a cool way of figuring it, right? Like,
yeah, they don't
really
have the
cool.
kind of a Wolverine kind of approach to their blade hands, right? Like the claws are more Wolverine-y, but like the mannequin claws are much more they're almost like a halfway between a spear and a sword.
Yeah.
Gargoyle flame spears, sword and torch spear, what about gargoyles, a profane capital, blah 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 blah. We saw that. We know what the deal is there. Gargoyle flame hammer, same deal. There's a light that never goes out, like Morrissey said. Pickaxe. It's a pickaxe. Fire Club was 2. We're holding on to that. That's our first weapon. Heavy Great Machete 2. That's the first weapon Derpy fell in love with. Dark Drift. It's Uria, a mentor of the Sable Church. Accomplished swordswoman is said to have claimed 100 lives with this weapon.
Wow.
And then we killed our ass.
We've claimed a lot more, so...
Yeah. The Murakamo, the curved greatsword of Alva, seeker of the spurn, specially forged in an eastern land. I love the eastern land thing.
It's very funny.
It's really funny.
And in all literature is we're always situated in the west, so the eastern land is always like Japan. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, it's very funny. Sharp but heavy, this sword requires extreme strength and dexterity to wield. The search for the spurned had no end, and so the wayfaring knight warmed to a most deformed weapon. The Murakamo is just a beast of a sword.
It's a cool sword.
Yeah, it's a cool sword. Warden Twin Blades, paired weapon wielded by the Grave Wardens of the Cathedral of the Deep. So the Cathedral of the Deep Wardens are down in the untended graves.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. The Grave Wardens of the Cathedral who put down reincarnating corpses wield weapons that cause profuse bleeding, for the loss of blood and bodily fluids is said to slow reanimation. So that's a weird thing to think of, because it's like, one, they're tending. The tending they do is stopping corpses from reanimating. They, which is interesting because we don't really run into that many reanimated corpses in the untended graves.
Yeah.
But also,
I guess because they do a great job.
Yeah, but they're wardens. They're not tenders. I guess is an interesting thing to think of there. Once again, like back to champion versus unkindled versus judge versus warden versus tender.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
They are sort of like they're a warden in the way that it is a. They also are a warden in the way that wards things off, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. No, it's interesting because the use of warden there, I mean, very specifically kind of not evoking a sense like some of the 10 something, and I think of the end of Candide. The admonition there is that we must tend our garden.
Right.
And it's that we have to go focus on growing something of our own, and that is ours, and also focusing on our own shit. But it's tending. It's tending. It is an act of cultivating. So that is not, the wardens are not cultivating. These graves are not being cultivated. They're not being reverent about anything. It is simply shit's coming out of these graves, and these guys are going through and they put it down.
Right.
And that's all they do, is just constantly walk through and make sure nothing is coming out of these graves.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And it's, I don't know, it's really, it's a wonderful use of language, and particularly on the localization part, to use warden and ward there. Like, it's very poetic. I like that a lot.
The Painted Guardian sword, weapon described in legends passed down among heretics, wielded by the Painted Guardians.
I love heretics.
We love the paintings are where we send heretics.
Hey, why not?
They are
It's
prison.
a good life.
The Painted Guardians are almost prisoner or wardens themselves.
They must have believed in something so hard.
Scimitar is just a scimitar, blah, 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 blah. Black Knight's sword, great sword wielded by Black Knights who wanted the land, designed to face chaos demons. It's big because they fought big things. Dagger. It's a dagger. What else do you need to know about it?
Delve into the armor to get through the rest of
I
this.
know. We're going to need some fucking... okay, well, we don't need pierced shields.
Yeah, let's get rid of these shields.
Yeah, get rid of those. The Great Shield of Glory. Great shield adorned with flowing patterns in celebration of the ancient glory. Boasts the highest ability of such shields, but with reduced stamina regeneration. Perhaps it is glory that begets indolence.
Wow.
I love that.
It's incredible slam on the idea of glory.
That begets indolence. Bye.
Okay.
The Cursed Word Great Shield. This is, this is the shield of the pursuer.
Mm-hmm.
Far too heavy for an ordinary person, perhaps it signifies the foolishness of resisting the curse, and yet those who bear the weight of the shield will not find its protection against curses wanting, which is very funny because all the motherfucking pursuers did was just be like, here, have curse, bitches. But they themselves resisted the curse.
That's right. They just had so much of it hanging around because they resisted it so good.
This is the shield of want, shield of an ancient king who was cursed by an all-consuming thirst. In the end, he was no king. We know who the king of want was. Go watch our Dark Souls 2 Let's Play to find out who the king of want was if you don't know.
There you go.
Dragon Crest shield, I'm going to hold on to those guys. Hawkwood shield. I want to know what the deal with Hawkwood is. We haven't run into him yet. Okay, we're going to sell our boy's head. Distinctive shaped helm worn by the Knights of Katarina. It was, for its curved design, makes it very effective in deflecting blows. That's why we did make curved kind of bassinet helmets and things like that. So
makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's actually enough.
Yeah, at least very close.
Yeah. Hey.
Welcome, husband. Very well. Then taken.
Let's see what we got. I thought it was 37. Yep, just enough.
Oh, that is good stuff.
There we go. And I'm going to put this into strength because we want to keep getting our strength big. We want to get 40 strength, I think, is what we want to get ultimately.
All right, sounds good to me.
Ta-da.
Very nice, Derby.
Yeah, there we go. And I think that will probably... I think that's it for this episode. We're gonna explore beyond the champion next week, right?
Yeah.
Next week's it's not Christmas yet. Well, we're taking the week of Christmas off,
yet.
but we will be back next week.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, the week of Christmas seems like a good week to take off.
This is a good week to take off. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, actually. Yeah, for my purposes, I won't even have to miss anything. That's great.
Trevor.
Yeah, so we'll do that next week.
Where can the people find you? What have you been up to?
No Cartridges, the podcast. I have some writing in the tank. It's coming along, still not out. So maybe by next week I'll have that to tell you to go check out. But someone we talked about on the podcast or on the show today, Chris Person, just had an episode with him drop Monday. So go listen to that if you like hearing about all the stuff Chris likes to buy from websites and wait 6 to 8 weeks to deliver. it's very fun to get him to geek out about like keyboards and stuff. And yeah, No Cartridge is the podcast, so check that out. That's mainly where I've been putting my energy.
Yeah, links are in the description. You can find me here on YouTube, where you found me. You can find me at Patreon at Dealacina. You can find me on Blue Sky and co-host and Twitter still at Dealacina, because that's where I live till the wheels fall off, and then I will decide where I'm going to end up next. But predominantly, we on Twitter.
That's right.
It's what I know and what I love, even when it's bad and full of transphobes and racists, and it's constantly breaking. But that's always been Twitter.
Yeah, it's just a little more now, and you get ads for like horrible scams.
I refuse to give up my ads for weird drop ship nightmare products.
Yeah. If you're interested in getting a dye for your teeth that's purple, so it will remove the yellow somehow, that even the person in the ad can't quite explain why that makes sense. Go to Twitter. That's
fucking love the weird ads we get these days. I just
so
love it.
good.
The world is terrible.
It really is the only perk, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, so find me there, find us here. If you enjoyed this, let people know that you enjoy our podcast or our Let's Play, and that expands all the way back to Dark Souls 1, and then we will continue on until we run out of Souls content, presumably. But yeah, we're closing in on the end, babies. So let's just stick with it.
Unbelievable.
And come back next week for more Dark Souls 3. And remember that all is for the best in this, the best of all possible souls. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
How many deaths did we get this episode?
I was gonna say, do you know? One. Your one death was falling off the cliff after.
My death falling off the cliff was following that one random invader that I didn't know existed because I never was kindled here before in my entire life.
It's so funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was your only one, even after Champion Gundyr.
I can't believe I one-shot Champion Gundyr.